Welcome to Real Parenting with Mackly. Mackly is committed to supporting parents in the journey of raising children. Through this show, we want to create a platform to host discussions on parenting and build a community where parents can share experiences, gain valuable insights, and navigate the challenges of parenting together. Joining us today, Dr. Priyanka. Welcome, Dr. Priyanka. It's great to have you with us here today.
Thank you so much, Sharmila. It's always a pleasure to be on this platform.
Dr. Priyanka has joined to discuss how can parents have difficult conversations with their children, such as school stressors, peer pressure, and ensure a strong foundation for good decision making. According to the Journal of Indian Association for Child and Adolescent Mental Health, anxiety, social withdrawal, and dysphoria collectively affect a staggering 51% of school-age children and adolescents. We have always associated stress with adults. Today, do you think kids are facing stress more than ever before?
Yes, it's completely true. If you look at the data from everywhere around the world, including India, mental health issues in kids are on a steep rise. And that's why you see so many mental health counselors that are suddenly springing up, because kids don't have the outlet anymore. They are highly stressed. They have too much competition, peer pressure, and social media is really adding to the stress that they have.
What role does early parenting play in how a child approaches or faces stress in their life?
So see, I think stress is basically an emotional response, right? And so if the child has a secure emotional bond with the parent and security within himself that I can manage whatever is coming my way, so then the child doesn't react to stress by getting depressed or feeling anxious. Vis-a-vis when children don't get that from an early age, that security from the parents, the time from the parents, then they start to feel like their brain basically reacts in a way where they're always either flying away from the trigger or they're trying to fight it. It's like the fight or flight response that's happening.
How to create an open environment at home where kids can communicate the stress they have at school?
So, I think the first thing is to have a non-judgmental approach, right? Being parents, we are constantly telling our kids that, why did you do this? Why did you do that? You should have done this. I've told you so many times. But eventually, the child starts to feel that they're not good enough, or, they just kind of have deaf ears. So one tool that I give to my parents is at night, have a 20-minute magical mom and me time, where it's a space that you create just to listen to the child, right? Where you ask them funny questions, you ask them random things, you share your day. Eventually, the child is going to start to pour out. And that's where you're going to pick up cues as to what's really going on in my child's life. But the only rule is that you cannot advise your child anything in those 20 minutes.
You have to be like a friend and share like how their day went.
Yeah, so you start by sharing your own day, right? And then the child feels comfortable enough to say, this is something that's bothering me. This child did something to me. Or, I'm not feeling that I'm at par with my peers. I feel underconfident. So many things happen with kids.
That's a very interesting point. First discussing how our day went so that they feel comfortable and on equal, platform to discuss how their day went as well. How can parents help their kids deal with negative influences, peer pressure, and other kind of challenges that they face at school?
So see, negativity is automatic, right? If you look at an empty land, weeds will grow automatically. Positivity requires effort, right? So when you want to convert that land into a beautiful garden, you're going to have to put in the time and effort. It's the same way with your children, right? The outside world is going to give them a lot of pressure, a lot of negative influences. Yes. Building that strong foundation is your job. Now, how can you do it easily? Is one, you have to be up to date with the current trend, the current lingo, the current music, so that your child feels comfortable enough to talk to you. And secondly, then you have to start having open conversations around alcohol, drugs, premature dating, anything that you feel may be a risk for your child or you're not okay with it. So you have to be the one who is initiating the conversation, giving your own examples of, how you also went through that phase and maybe some mistakes that you made along the way, right? I think the second thing is educating your kids from a young age of the pros and cons of adopting any of these habits. So when your child is informed and educated, they're less likely to fall under prey of peer pressure. They will know when to make the right decision and when not.
Right. The world today has changed a lot from when we were kids. When do you think is the right age? How do we know what age is the right age to discuss some of these issues?
So ideally 8 and up, right? Because at the age of 8, children are very, very informed and aware these days from their peers, from the kids on the bus. So any child who is 8 and up should start to have these conversations with the parents. Like, we used to think that when the child is a teenager, that would be the right age, but it'll be too late, honestly, by then.
Do you think schools also have a big role to play to make it easier for parents to have conversations around these topics?
So schools these days are doing workshops for children around sensitive issues, right? Generally, by the time that the child is in grade 4 or 5, they introduce it. So if you come to know that the school has recently held a workshop, but it was the same day, that's actually the best time to say that since the topic is just been talked about, the child must have hundreds of questions in their mind. And then when you address it, even if the child is squirmy or uncomfortable, you'll really be helping your child.
Yeah, I also think in school when you're handling the children listen to these things along with their friends, it makes it a little comfortable for them to talk about these issues. Can you share some helpful tips how to discuss these topics with the kids, how to start and how to take it forward from there?
So I think it's about just being comfortable yourself as a parent, right? Because some things we only feel uncomfortable, that what if the child asks you? What if my child asks me, okay, mom, so when was the first time that you did this? So you need to be vulnerable enough to be able to share with your child that, yes, this is what I went through and these were the repercussions or the benefits of the same, right? So I think one is educating yourself. If we talk about anything today, right, the LGBTQ community, a lot of us parents are not very well aware of what it is, what it means, how do we deal with it. So when our kids come and ask us questions, we don't know what to do about it. So it's about really being up to date with what is happening at what age and what kind of a community. So you have to keep yourself well informed. And then I think you have to be okay to say that, I want to be that person who's the sounding board for my child. So no matter what my child asks, rather than going to Google to find the answer, they should come to me and maybe together we will research on Google. If I don't know the answer, I can say, hey, let's check it out. But at least I'll be able to filter the information which is not required for my child at that age.
Okay. Some of these topics, it is very easy for us parents to be opinionated or be judgmental about it. How do we keep ourselves sounding fair and balanced in discussing those topics?
So I think it's about creating an open platform and saying, okay, so these are the benefits of taking this decision and these are the risks. So in any situation, and asking your child, do you think the risk is higher than the benefit here? Or if you think that, no, it's a thing to do these days, then what is the risk that you're taking? Are you ready for that? Any decision we take, we are losing out on something in life, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you're spending time studying math, that means you're not spending time in the garden. So similarly, so what are you losing out on and is it worth it? Okay. So I think when you put the ball in the child's court, then they feel more in charge and they're the ones who are going to come to you saying, I'm confused. What should I do? Okay. My friends are telling me to do this, but I don't feel it's right. And that's when then you have the opportunity to be a mentor.
Yeah, to guide them. Can you provide examples of age-appropriate activities that could help children be a bit more independent and take decisions by themselves?
Sure. So I think decision making is basically a function of your inner confidence that, I know that I'll be able to figure it out, right? And the earlier that we start giving our children the opportunity to make their decisions on their own, a child as young as 3 should be able to make a decision of what clothes do I want to wear. Right. How do I organize my school bag? Do I have everything that I need for school, right? A child as young as 6 can start to help in the house. What should we make for dinner? Do we have the vegetables in our fridge today or not? Right? A child as young as 8 or 9 can start to make decisions with the family. Where should we go on a holiday? What kind of hotel should we stay in? If we have a limited budget, then should we spend on the park that we want to go to or the hotel? So all of these discussions that you start to have with your child, giving them the opportunity to think. I think it's about, how much does my child believe that he can think through a situation and he can figure out the answer. And I'm there, but I'm behind my child. I'm not in front of my child.
That's nice. Having them plan vacations, definitely, I think they'll be very interested to do that. How, as parents, can we strike a balance between encouraging achievement and also bringing up a well-balanced child?
So balance is basically what that all dimensions of my life I'm catering to equally, right? I'm giving time to my physical development, emotional, acads, mental development, my social everything. And so I think it's more about, it's not really encouraging the achievement, it's encouraging the effort. So it's great to give aspirations and ambitions to your children, right? Like that's what's going to motivate them. But in the journey, instead of only praising when they got that medal or award, we should start praising that it was because of the effort that the child put in, right? So instead of saying, wow, that was such a beautiful painting, can you say that, wow, I love the way that you were practicing your strokes. And so what the child learns in this process is that whatever I put my effort into, I'll be able to achieve that. Today it's art, tomorrow it may be football, it may be AI.
Okay.
Right? So it's about developing that growth mindset in the child. Once your child has that firmly inside of them, that I know that if I put in effort and if I have the dedication, I will be able to do it. I think in any area of their life, then they will go with that confidence.
But don't you think some children it might take a little bit more time to get to this understanding? Some children might be easy, and some children also kind of slack, or we live in a very competitive environment, right? So a lot of supportive kind of statements alone, do you think is enough for them to get to where they want? Or it also depends on the situation that the parent might have to handle it accordingly?
See, definitely depends on the situation. If your child is giving a board exam this year, then you will have to put pressure on the child, right? I mean, there are certain things that the world requires, right? I think what I'm meaning to say is don't only see the end result. Help your child see the process. The best
positive.
The best way to do it is set goals with your child. That okay, what is the goal for this year, right? And then set dates where we have quarterly reviews. That okay, if today is January, by December we have to achieve this goal. So like March, June, and September, we're going to sit down and review how far have we reached, and if we're not reached, then what happened? We didn't put in enough time, we didn't understand it, we don't have the right mentors. And so by the time that you have these 3 reviews, you can keep course correcting your child. And the child is also accountable because they know that, the review is coming up.
Okay. If there are just 3 parenting tips that you could, give for raising confident children, what would they be?
So there are a lot, but I think the top 3 is, the first is as a parent, have 100% wholehearted belief in your child. Like don't doubt it even for a minute that my child will be able to do something in their life, because that doubt is what's, it puts the seed of doubt in your child. And when the child starts to doubt themselves, that's when they just kind of fail in everything, right?
They lose confidence.
Yeah, if we look at Thomas Edison, he was kicked out of school for not being a student apt, and he became one of the greatest inventors thanks to his mother. And he gives 100% credit to his mother, because when that letter came home, rather than telling him that your teacher has kicked you out of school, she said, the teacher told me that you are too good for the school. So I think the first thing is have that belief. The second is give your children opportunities to excel in at least one area of their life. Like really encourage dedicated effort towards one area, so they start to feel that yes, I have a sense of achievement. And the third tip is, I really believe in having your child interact with all age groups, right? So have your child interact with adults, with elder kids, with grandparents, with younger kids, so they will start to understand dynamics of relationships.
They get an all-round experience.
So confidence is about how I project myself in front of somebody. And so when I'm able to communicate with different age groups, then anywhere I go, I'll feel very comfortable in myself.
Great. I think that was very helpful, Dr. Priyanka. Thank you, Dr. Priyanka, for joining us today. Your invaluable insights will be helping a lot of parents like us. And as a token of our gratitude, we would like to give you a Mackly gift hamper. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I really hope to have you back on the show again.
100%.
See you again next time on Real Parenting with Mackly.